Welcome back to DXB. Today, a bit of a tech special for you on the show this evening as we look at some of the trends that we're expecting to see in the tech sector. Right here in Dubai, but further afield. Now, come on, quick question for you. What was the last thing you bought online? I bet you've probably bought something whilst the show has been on air, haven't you? That's just how prevalent e-commerce and retail online is at the moment. Well, next guest is, of course, Daumantas Grigaravicius, who is the head of fintech platform Adyen Middle East. Knows a thing or two about that and more. Big thanks for you for joining us, as always. Great to have you on board. Listen, as you well know, and as I've just been talking about, I'm just getting my head around AI in general at the moment. And then all of a sudden, I've got to get my head around agentic AI. Augmented has come, now we're going to agentic as well. Can we do a few sort of definitions? So if people are just sort of working out, what is agentic AI? How does that sort of separate itself from AI 1.0?
Yep, sounds good. So look, there's definitely a lot that's happening very quickly. I think the easiest way to look at agentic commerce is a lot of us are using things like ChatGPT, for example, to check what items we want to buy, the kind of discovery phase. Now, typically you have discovery, you have selection, you have purchase, and you have post-purchase. And right now, what agentic commerce will do is combine that into two parts. Discovery, selection, and purchase autonomously. So if you're looking for a new suit jacket, if you're looking for sneakers, you type in what you're looking for, it will find, it will buy. And the only remaining step for, let's say, us as the individual is the post-purchase. It doesn't fit, you want to return it, that kind of steps. So that's generally the overview of agentic commerce.
Is it too simple to say that, whereas AI has taken on a lot of advice and therefore makes a recommendation, that agentic is thinking for itself or not?
Not necessarily, you're still prompting it, and you still have to give it the permission to make a purchase on your behalf, for example. So yes, of course, preferences will come into it. If it knows you like a certain brand or you like a certain fit, when it goes into that selection phase, it will say, okay, I know that you like this and therefore I'm going to go into that particular product.
You know, we hear a lot about agentic AI. I've been listening to the conversations for a couple of years, but it's mostly have been discourse and not a lot of actions. So tell me a little bit about sort of applying that and how does it apply in retail overall?
Yeah, so I think you'll see that it really comes into fruition in different segments. So for example, right now in the US, these flows are already happening. I think in the UAE specifically, we're probably around 18 months out. And that's really, dependent on how quickly the retailers engage this new technology. Where you will see it happening very quickly is anything that's easy to compare. The previous guest was talking about smart items that know when items have gone off. Well, agentic commerce will come in and say, oh, I know that you buy your milk every 6 days. I'm going to go on the website and buy it and then get it delivered to your house. So that's kind of like the automation that we'll see with items that are very easy to compare. Then it will come to things like travel, for example. Multi-step, quite fragmented. So that takes a little bit more time because it's more complicated. And the final piece in the puzzle where we see is the kind of higher end items, your cars, your luxury goods, still probably requires a bit more human control. You don't necessarily want an agent going out there and spending that sum of money without your involvement.
So how close are we to seeing these AI agents doing the end-to-end consumer buying in the UAE? And what are the regulatory barriers and that is being taking place to make sure that we're all protected overall?
I would say that our estimates are around a year and a half out. I mentioned that it's kind of dependent on the retailers themselves, and that does come into the security question. So we're moving into a very new paradigm, and so security, fraud, things like that change very quickly. For example, traditional checks like someone wants a copy of my ID or a proof of address. Well, if you take an ID and you put it into an AI protocol, it's quite easy to make into a different ID. Retailers need to understand how to combat that. Regulators will probably come in and mandate certain enhancements to how we do these checks. As a business, we have our own ways that we are going to enhance these checks and building products ourselves that will then be able to tell, okay, this is a real customer or this is a fake customer.
Oh, so basically needs to be some type of screening to make sure that both the consumer and the and the retailers are all protected. But how would retailers adapt to that thing? And how kind of good would it be for businesses to go into this type of advancement?
I don't think that they necessarily need to be able to do it themselves. They need to partner with the right type of company. So I'll give you an example. For us, we have a tool that we have recently spoken about called dynamic identification. Now, if you think about it like this, when you wake up and you go through your normal routine, that's your digital footstep. You grab a coffee somewhere, you have lunch somewhere, on the way home you may stop at Spinneys. That's much harder to fake. So we as a company, when we see good actors and bad actors, we kind of look at their digital footprint rather than just one transaction or one ID or one proof of address. We say, does the footprint of that person we typically see fit the activity that's happening now? And then determine, yes, it's good, no, it's not good. We kind of do that work for the end retailer. Yeah.
So you're kind of touching on it a little bit there, but like, okay, let's talk about fraud as a whole.
Yeah.
Like, how do you think it's going to evolve? Like, obviously there are people that are looking into this kind of technology from a negative point of view, as well as a positive. So what kind of fraud are we going to see? Yeah,
I think to what I just mentioned, you'll see a lot more prevalence in fraudulent documentation. Traditional financial institutions, they get what's called 95% of false positives. When they see an alert on something, they go to check it. Actually, there was nothing wrong there. Now I think we will need to enhance those checks with, as I mentioned, kind of this overall view of what a customer is doing and whether it's a true customer or not. But I think you will see really, really big changes, websites being hacked and cards being tested on them. You'll need to have like proper protection in place there to go against these type of things or combat these things.
With so much at your fingertips, Adyen being operational here in the UAE for the last 5 years or so now,
correct,
you work across a variety, a diverse number of backgrounds and sectors as well, from retail to hospitality, etc. I mean, it goes back to this age-old question of bricks and mortar. I mean, with everything at our fingertips, is there going to be a reason to go to the shops in the future? Is there a reason to go to a bricks and mortar mall or not?
I would personally say yes. And I think in Dubai, in the UAE, if you think about just geographically where we are at, in the summer, it's hot. It's an experience to go to the mall because you have the shops, you go to the cinema, you go to somewhere with your kids. So there is still an element of, you will go into a physical store. Also, and
I suppose we've got to remember that agentic AI is going to be in store as well. It's not just a question of it's you at home doing your e-commerce. There's going to be elements of it in store in the different experience.
I imagine so. So, for example, if you're a member of a particular store or a particular scheme, that knows you, we could see a point where you go into a store. I think back a few years ago, they had the digital mirrors where you can try different outfits. Who knows? Maybe things like that could come back. We're really not. This is now kind of, I would say, speculating. But I could definitely see avenues where it overlaps a little bit. Yeah.
It's going to be interesting.
Incredible stuff. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this very tech-focused episode. I'm going to ask you to sit right there, though, because I think now it is time for DXB in 60. Metha, you're the lady with the quiz.
That's right. So, Carla, we have DXB in 60, where I ask you a bunch of questions and you have to answer as much as possible within 60 seconds. But it's all about your opinions and all about you. So, are you ready?
Yeah, getting locked in.
Okay, great. Let's put start the clock in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Quick fire, print or digital?
Digital.
Nice. AI, exciting or mildly terrifying?
Exciting.
Long-term journalism or punchy explainers?
Long form.
Humans or machines?
Both.
One topic you'll never get tired of covering?
AR.
Yeah. Story you almost didn't publish but are glad you did?
Great story with Sheikh Hashamma on COP28.
Oh, nice. One word you delete the most while editing?
Oof. There's too many.
A gadget or tech device you can't live without?
My nothing earphones.
One word your editors would use to describe you?
Oof. Sorry, I'm completely blanking. I think they would say I'm editorial. I don't know.
Great. Why Dubai?
Why Dubai? It's the hub for everything. I mean, it makes sense. This is where tech is happening. This is where publishing is happening. It's a great place to be.
You did really good, by the way. You answered everything 60 seconds.
You passed.
Just barely.
No, yeah, flying colours. Carla, really appreciate your time. Thanks so much indeed for your professional insight. And thanks for joining us on the show as our guest co-host.
So happy to be here.
Daumantas, thank you so much indeed as well. Thanks for the insight. All the best for 2026. It's going to be a busy one, I'm sure.
Thank you. You too.
For us all.